I wasn't sure where the best place was to post these stories. I've been a search and rescue officer for a few years now, and I've seen things during this time that I think you'd find interesting. I have a solid track record of finding the lost. Most of the time, they just lose their way or slip down a small ridge and can't get back. Most of them know the advice: stay put. But what I'm about to tell you goes way beyond the rules. Welcome to The Plot. I'm really glad you guys are with us today. Our stories here aren't just passing tales. They're a journey where we search together for the truth in the middle of all this mystery. Today, I'm going to share details that might sound illogical to some, but they're very real for those who lived them. So, get in your favorite spot, grab your favorite drink, and focus on every single detail, because what's coming is worth it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay part of our journey. And now, I'll leave you with the officer. I'm not going to mention my name or where I work to keep my privacy. It's enough to just call me Z. During my career, I faced many strange and scary situations that I don't have an explanation for, and I'm still thinking about them to this day. But I faced two of the craziest cases. Both of them bother me a lot, and I use them as motivation to search harder in the missing person cases I'm assigned to. The first one was a little boy who was picking berries with his parents. He and his sister were together, and they both went missing at almost the same time. Their parents lost track of them for just a few seconds, and during that time, it seems the two kids wandered off. When the parents couldn't find them, they called us, and we came to search the area. We found the daughter quickly, and when we asked her about her brother, she told us he was kidnapped by the bear man. She said he gave her some berries and told her to stay quiet, and that he wanted to play with her brother for a bit. The last time she saw her brother, he was riding on the bear man's shoulders and looking calm. Of course, the first thing that came to our minds was kidnapping, but we didn't find any trace of another human in that area. The girl also insisted that he wasn't a normal man. He was tall and covered in hair like a bear, and his face was weird. We searched that area for weeks, and it was one of the longest search operations I've ever been part of, but we never found a single trace of that boy. The other one was a young woman who was hiking with her mother and grandfather. According to the mom, her daughter climbed a tree to get a better view of the forest and never came down. They waited at the base of the tree for hours, calling her name before they asked for help. Again, we searched everywhere, and we didn't find any trace of her. I have no idea where she could have gone, because neither her mother nor her grandfather saw her coming down. Guys, I didn't think things would be this weird. I thought they were just situations and sounds, but I'm honestly surprised by these situations. It's only the beginning, but I don't blame Officer Z for his concern. Let's get back to the cases. There's another situation. I don't know if it's weird or just normal or a coincidence, but it's hard to classify it as a coincidence because it happened several times. When I used to take my dog out to search and track scents, he would always lead me to the edge of a cliff. Some might think the dog followed a scent and the missing person is down below, but unfortunately, we would find the missing people later, and when I'd ask them, they would shock me by saying they never went near there at all. I really don't know how to classify that. To be honest, we could explain that as the dog getting lost or following another scent, but when it happens repeatedly, it gets really weird. Now I'll tell you about the other situations I've faced or heard from my colleagues. One particularly heartbreaking case was a body recovery. A 9-year-old girl fell off a cliff and her body was pierced by a dead tree trunk at its base. It was a completely freak accident, but I'll never forget her mother's scream when we told her what happened. She saw the body bag being carried to the ambulance and let out a scream of pain and grief like nothing I've ever heard before. It was as if her whole life was collapsing around her, and a part of her had died with her daughter. I heard from another female officer on the search and rescue team that she committed suicide a few weeks after the accident. She couldn't handle losing her daughter. I joined another search and rescue team after we got reports of bears in the area. We were looking for a man who didn't return from a climbing trip on time, and we finally had to climb a tough mountain to get to the place where we expected him to be. We found him stuck in a small ice crevice with a broken leg. The situation was gruesome. He stayed there for about 2 days, and his leg had a clear infection. We managed to get him to a helicopter, and I heard from one of the medics that the man was in a terrible state. He kept repeating that he was fine, and when he reached the summit, he found a man there. He said the man wasn't carrying any climbing gear and was wearing a winter jacket and ski pants. He approached him, and when the man turned around, he said his face was pale. It was empty of any expression. The man panicked and tried to go down the mountain way too fast, and that's what caused his fall. He said he could hear the man all night long coming down the mountain and letting out horrific, muffled screams. This story bothered me deeply. I'm just glad I wasn't there to hear it. This is truly tragic, heartbreaking, and honestly terrifying. Every situation creeps me out more than the last. I really hope your mental health is okay. Here, you can stand in respect for these heroes. They really lived through some trauma. Let's get back to Z. The upcoming cases are going to truly shock you. One of the scariest situations I've ever been through was searching for a young woman who got separated from her group on a hiking trip. We stayed out until late at night because the dogs picked up her scent. When we found her, she was curled up under a large, rotting tree trunk. She was missing her shoes and her bag, and she was clearly in shock. She wasn't injured, and we managed to convince her to walk back to the base with us. The whole way, she kept looking behind us and asking why that big man with the black eyes was following us. We didn't see anyone, so we figured it was just a weird symptom of shock. But the closer we got to the base, the more agitated this woman became. She kept telling me to ask him to stop making faces at her. At one point, she stopped, turned around, and started screaming into the forest, saying she wanted him to leave her alone. She said she wouldn't go with him, and she wouldn't hand us over to him. We finally convinced her to keep moving, but we started hearing strange noises around us. The sound was like a cough, but more rhythmic and deep. It was like the sound of insects. I don't know how to describe it exactly. When we were in sight of the operations center, the woman turned to me, her eyes wide as they could be. She touched my shoulder and said, "He's telling me to tell you to hurry up. He doesn't like seeing the scar on your neck." I have a very small scar at the base of my neck, but it's hidden under my shirt collar, and I have no idea how this woman saw it. As soon as she finished talking, I heard that strange cough in my ear, and I almost jumped out of my skin. I rushed her to the operations center, trying to hide my panic, but I gotta say, I was very happy when we left that area that night. This is the last story I'll tell, and maybe the weirdest one I have. I don't know if this applies to all search and rescue units, but in mine, it's a regular thing even if it's not explicitly mentioned. You can try asking other search and rescue officers, but even if they know what you're talking about, they probably won't say anything. We've been ordered not to talk about it by our superiors, and at this point, we're so used to it that it doesn't even seem weird anymore. In almost every mission where we're deep in the wilderness, I'm talking 30 or 40 miles out, at some point we find a staircase in the middle of the forest. It's like taking the stairs from your house, cutting them out, and placing them in the woods. I asked about it the first time I saw a staircase, and the other officer told me not to worry, that it's normal. Everyone I asked said the same thing. I wanted to check them out, but I was told, very sternly, not to go near any of them. Now I just ignore them when I come across them, because it happens a lot. I really can't imagine myself in your shoes. I might run away or lose my mind. It's a terrifying situation, truly. A scary person following me, hearing sounds behind me, and someone next to me seeing things I hide from people. Sorry, but running away is half of bravery. You guys are truly heroes. Well, guys, we've reached the end of part one. I really hope you liked today's episode. These are truly scary situations. There will be another part soon with more cases from Officer Z. Don't forget the subscribe button if you aren't subscribed, and the like encourages me to keep going. Thanks for watching and see you in other cases.